I've been able to get over smaller obstacles for a while now, but I only know of one way to get over the obstacles, and that is pretty much the log punch technique, which is giving a little bit of front wheel lift and some throttle. If I'm going to advance at all in my trials competitions, I'm going to have to learn how to do double blips so I can get over bigger obstacles. If you don't know what a double blip is, it is a technique used to get over large obstacles using two distinct blips of the throttle without hitting the skid plate. So this is something that I've been working on for about a month, so I'm going to show you my progress starting from the first day I started recording, which is the first day I started doing small obstacles. And this tiny little log I'm using is mostly for practicing front wheel placement and body positioning before I moved on to something bigger. I know this looks goofy, but just trust the process, guys. After I got comfortable with that, I moved on to this culvert, which isn't huge, but it's also very low risk, meaning that if I mess up, I can still get over the obstacle like that without harming myself or my bike. In many of these attempts, I am rushing the whole process and I'm not allowing the front suspension to compress on the obstacle. I'm also overshooting a little bit as well, so like right there, I didn't even touch the obstacle with my front wheel, which is part of the goal. Taylor's demonstrating it perfectly. So that's the goal. With every attempt I make, I am making more and more progress into nailing this, but there are still some pretty critical flaws in my technique that I will need to address. And thank goodness that I filmed these things because I was able to look back in this footage and realize what it was that I was doing wrong. I realized that after I did my initial first blip and real lift, I wasn't actually pulling my clutch all the way back in once my front tire made contact with the obstacle, and I was just giving it gas instead. Once I knew where I went wrong, I was able to go back out and work on it on my own and really try to hammer it home and build that muscle memory of pulling the clutch in on the second blip. What you're about to witness is my aha moment where all of the movements finally click in my tiny brain. And there it was, my perfect double blip. At least the most perfect one I've done. Blip 1, compression, clutch in, throttle. Blip 2 and body position and everything. Mwah, chef's kiss, perfect. So I had quite a few good ones, but just because I had a couple good ones doesn't mean that I'm getting it 100% of the time. As you can see, not every single time is decent. So, you know the whole 10,000 hour thing? Yeah, I don't have anywhere near 10,000 hours into this, so I'm gonna have to keep working on it. Another character flaw of mine is that I get extremely comfortable on one obstacle and I tend to not be able to do anything else other than that one thing. So I found this nice log to work on, which is about 6 inches taller at the taller point than that culvert. And I decided to work on it because I actually have to do a decent double blip to get over it without hitting my skid plate or getting stuck like I am right here.
Second gear was not the move.
So the whole idea behind helmet cam here was so I could see what my hands were doing in the middle of a double blip. Unfortunately, I lacked the brain cells to remember to check the footage before recording several hours of this, and realized that I didn't actually have it positioned where you can see my hands, so yeah. If you're watching where my front tire's landing every time I attempt the log, I have better success in getting over the obstacle when it's hitting about 3/4 of the way up the log rather than it skimming the top or completely missing the top of the log altogether. This attempt would have been nearly picture perfect for me, showing all of the compression and the body movement. Everything is all coming together, except I got scared once the front end of the bike started to go up the log. I would have had it probably had I not just put my foot down. As you can see, I did this a million times. Actually, I don't know. I should probably count how many times I actually tried it, but I tried it a lot and I'm still not 100%. So I took a break and I came back to it a couple days later to try it again. I'm not one to give up, but when I can tell that I'm not making any progress on what I'm currently working on, it might be time to move on to something else. So I gave up this bigger log and moved on to a slightly smaller log to see if I can get any more progress on a smaller obstacle before I came back and worked on this again. I feel like I'm making progress with a more controlled and slower approach, but I'm not making progress in not hitting my skid plate and getting the back tire to hop up on top of the obstacle. So today I'm working on double blips, and I can kind of do them, but I'm not doing them as proficiently as I would like to do them. I'm not working on anything huge because I'm just trying to get the basic body positioning and clutch and throttle control down before I move on to anything giant. So I'm working on smaller stuff, and yeah, my biggest problem right now is I keep, especially on this log, I keep casing it, so I get my front end up and over, and then my rear wheel touches, and then I case it. So I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing wrong. I mean, I'm doing something wrong, but I'm trying to work through it and figure out what it is that I'm doing wrong so I can fix it. So, let's keep going. And there we go. That was the result that I was looking for. It's not perfect, but it's much closer to what I was trying to achieve than any of the other attempts were. This is the end of Double Blip Month 1. This is one full month of working on double blips, and let's look at the progress that I've made. This is no double blip. This is my very first time trying the double blip on an obstacle, to my really good attempt at doing it on the culvert that I was super comfy on, and then doing this log the best that I can do. It's not perfect, but I am still going to work on it, so stay tuned for month 2.